I would like to first thank Kirsten and Honorable Dennis Beventon for inviting Canadians for Accountability to this round table. Canadians for Accountability is a new organization for those of you who haven't heard about us yet. It was created by a group of grassroots whistleblowers and accountability activists. Our mission is to advance integrity and accountability and to help and advocate for whistleblowers in all parts of our society. Safety management system is an issue that we've had our attention for some time. 2 years ago, Alan Cutler, for those of you who might know him, he's the sponsorship scandal whistleblower. He's our president, and he went on record with his concerns about safety management systems. He did so not only because of his own reservations, but also because he was asked to do so by unions representing workers in the aviation industry. What is it that concerns us about SMS? As a concept, we're not opposed to it. Rather, we feel that SMS in its current form fails the accountability test. We also believe that neither in the industry nor Transport Canada is ready for it, and that if it moves forward, more lives could be lost to preventable accidents. In practical terms, SMS relies on airline operators to set up systems of internal monitoring, reporting, and correction for safety issues, rather than relying on Transport Canada's inspections. It assumes that a safety culture will become part of the airline's everyday practices. This is a nice idea in theory. But in order for performance-based regulatory frameworks like SMS to be effective, several conditions must be met. 1. The airline must already have a mature safety culture and a high degree of regulatory compliance. 2. The initial safety assessment for the operator must be conducted at the arm's length, as managers are unlikely to admit fault in their own operations. 3. There must be a safe environment for people to bring problems forward and have them dealt with in a transparent manner. And I think we've heard already cases today how important that is. 4. There must be no conflict of interest between oversight and the business end of operations. 5. Performance standards must be developed and measured by the regulator. 6. The regulator should have sufficient resources and expertise to properly inspect all aspects of operations. In addition, we feel that transparency is essential for such a system. The traveling public has the right to know whether an airline with which they want to fly has a history of safety problems. We do not believe that SMS meets these conditions in its current form. In particular, we're mostly concerned that it has no protection for employees who choose to report problems. While this might not be a problem in well-managed, responsible airlines where workplace intimidation does not exist, it is not the case everywhere. We know this because we have been approached by several whistleblowers reporting dangerous practices in airlines. To our knowledge, none of these issues have been effectively addressed, and the employees involved were punished for speaking out. And we heard earlier today from Kevin Gauthier his story of how he was punished for coming forward, exposing problems. People like Kevin and Hugh should be protected and not be punished, and they need to be protected by law. Furthermore, There's ample evidence that poor safety cultures have led to other crashes in the past few years, notably in BC. There's also evidence that Transport Canada's unwillingness to act even when there are clear signs of problems. Part of the problem is that SMS ignores human nature. A common thread through past crashes seems to be a conflict between business pressures and safety requirements, a conflict which is often decided in favor of business interests. Line managers faced with the delay sometimes succumb to temptations and cut corners. When nothing happens, they're inclined to try again. Furthermore, we're skeptical of Transport Canada's ability at this stage to ensure compliance with SMS. It admits that success of SMS depends on a corporate culture where each individual contributes to and is responsible for safety, and where the reporting of safety concerns is actively encouraged. But how are these things measured? How does one measure culture? We all know lack of accountability can cause major problems. What we're facing today as a world, as an earlier speaker mentioned, in the world economic crisis, is probably the greatest example of what happens when accountability is absent. The families of Damien Samuel Hancock and Kirsten Stevens should not have to suffer the tragedy of their loved ones repeated on other families.